Tusks up, Utah Mammoth fans, and welcome into another Utah Mammoth Daily. Well, life comes at you fast in the NHL. No sooner did I send that video to be uploaded did the Golden Knights spring into action and pick up Rasmus Andersson from the Flames. So I guess Bill Armstrong doesn't listen to this program, which is fine. But that's yet another player that would have been great on Utah, where Utah wasn't even in on the trade talks. They weren't even in the four teams that were mentioned that were targeting and going hard after Rasmus Andersson. So, yeah, I'll talk about Bill Armstrong here in a little bit, but I'm less than pleased about his current performance this season, especially with everything that he has been saying. And it's been coming from his own mouth, too. This isn't stuff that has been, like, me projecting onto him or other more reputable outlets projecting onto him. This is coming straight from him. So I'll talk about him in a little bit, but Rasmus Andersson goes to Vegas. Utah wasn't even close in on the discussion. Utah does still need that right shot defenseman to kind of balance out what they have right now. And they also have other needs too. But that's the big one for me is Rasmus Andersson. I was talking about him way back in October and September. Nothing happened. Yeah. So this is my Bill Armstrong face until something happens. All right. So let's roll right along here. New targets are coming in to focus here for the Mammoth. Since really the only other defenseman that would make sense for the Mammoth is Dougie Hamilton, and the Mammoth are reportedly still in on him. What else is there? Well, with Andersson being traded by the Flames, Nazem Kadri's name has come up a lot more. I mean, the last we heard from him and his camp and the Flames is that Kadri is committed to the Calgary team, and he doesn't want to be moved. He has a limited no-trade clause, so there are a few teams that he won't be moved to. Who knows if the Mammoth are on that list? I don't know if they can update their list year over year. That's something I need to look into, or you guys can tell me. But that would be a really huge get for the Mammoth. He'll be a huge get for whoever gets him. I mean, whether it's the Flames able to retain him or another team is able to trade for him. I mean, he's got the Stanley Cup pedigree. He was the driving force behind the Avalanche, finally getting over the hump a few years back. So getting an Nazem Kadri, I think, would just be massive for the Mammoth. Then Pettersson, Elias Pettersson, with all of these moves going on, his name's coming up a lot too. And what's interesting about this one is because of the recent form of the Vancouver Canucks, 0-8-2 in their last 10, Vancouver is talking about being open to retaining some of his salary. Like, maybe that happens. And if that happens, then he becomes a very attractive trade target for the rest of the NHL. Because for a while, they were thinking about maybe trading Elias Pettersson, but the acquiring team would have to pay the full Monty. They'd have to do the entire salary. Now that's kind of changed. The market's starting to heat up a little bit more. Vancouver saying, hey, maybe we'll take on 20 to 25% of that salary in a trade, but you're going to have to make it worth our while. That's very interesting. Utah, among the rest of the NHL, needs that center. With Logan Cooley coming back after the Olympic break, that's huge. Like, you put it back on that line with Dylan Guenther. It's Dylan Guenther, it's Logan Cooley, it's Michael Carcone, or you keep the Dylan Guenther, McBain, Carcone line. You slot Logan Cooley up on the top line with Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz on either side. That does, well, I don't like that line either because that removes Lawson Krause from the equation. So there's a lot of moving pieces here, as you could tell. But if they can manage to get Elias Pettersson or Nazem Kadri, that fixes a lot of the problems the Mammoth have, and it would boot Barrett Hayton out, at least either to the wing or just out entirely. So that's something that's very exciting to think about as a Mammoth fan. So what would a trade for Elias Pettersson look like? Well, there is a trade rumor out there that was floated by, get ready for this one, NHLTradeRumors.com, where there is a package that they've put together that would entice Vancouver. The problem I have with this is the two prospects that Utah would be giving up, but I understand Utah would have to give up some prospects for this to happen. So this is the trade that they put together here on NHLTradeRumors.com. This is from Bill Scott on an article he published just yesterday, as of me recording this, so on Sunday. And the package is Utah gets Elias Pettersson with Vancouver retaining 25% of the salary. And Utah would have to give up a first-round pick in this coming draft, 2026. And then top prospects, Daniil Boot and Caleb Desnoyers. I don't like that as much. I don't see the Mammoth moving Daniil Boot. I don't see that happening because he's doing pretty well up on the senior team. Caleb Desnoyers, I could see moving him because it's a redundant position. Elias Pettersson is that center, so Caleb Desnoyers would be blocked by Logan Cooley, Elias Pettersson, maybe Cole Baudouin, but I would say swap out Desnoyers for Cole Baudouin, and you got something there that might be working. Maybe throw in an additional draft pick, like a second rounder or a third rounder in there. And then I think that would help move the needle a lot more than what Bill has put together here. So with the trove of picks, of prospects, and salary cap space, I think an Elias Pettersson trade can really happen, and Bill Armstrong can really move the needle with whatever team he's talking to, depending on how much pedal he wants to put to the floor. Maybe that's a decision for the offseason. Maybe that's something that's never going to happen. And the reason I'm starting to think that he's all talk is all of these big trades are happening with pieces that would really complement what is happening in Utah. And the Mammoths just haven't been involved in any of it. Rasmus Anderson, Quinn Hughes. I mean, those are the two big ones, right? Those are the two bombshell trades, but Utah just isn't even mentioned. Why? I say throw yourself in the middle of those talks. Jazz up your roster. It would make them want to play harder because either A, they don't want to move, or they want to become a more attractive trade option for that team so that they could get a contract extension when they get moved. You know, like a Nick Schmaltz or even a Barrett Hayton. Alexander Kerfoot if he were healthy. Those Kevin Stenlund, stuff like that. But instead, it's just radio silence coming out of Salt Lake City from Bill Armstrong. And it's really frustrating to see because everywhere I've read from like the top of the heap where it's, The Athletic ESPN's not really the top of the heap anymore, but ESPN, TSN, stuff like that, they talk about Utah having this trove of, movable pieces and all of these prospects and trade capital that they can move to make a splash, and nothing. And it's just, is Bill Armstrong all talk? I think that's worth discussing. Obviously, we're still super early in the Utah Mammoth, Utah hockey, experience here. It's barely over a year. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you think Bill Armstrong is all talk. Maybe he's trigger shy. He doesn't want to make that move. Maybe he just is too protective of his prospects. Maybe that's it. But let me know your thoughts. Hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Tusks up.